Hey folks, my name is Mo Amir and this is VANCOLOUR, British Columbia's bona fide culture and politics TV talk show. Happy New Year! I hope you celebrated a wonderful holiday season. Tonight, master political operative, he was Chief of Staff to BC Premier John Horgan, Jeff Meggs will be here to talk about what we can expect from BC Premier David Eby in 2025. Plus, new year, new fees? We're going to run down all the increased costs that you'll have to pay this year. And on that note, you know who I'm glad will be paying more? People who flip houses. In fact, if you're a BC home buyer who buys housing only to sell it right away in order to turn a quick profit, you're now subject to a provincial home flipping tax of up to 20%. I love it, but is it all that it's cracked up to be? Here to discuss is a rental property management expert, managing broker for Greater Vancouver Tenant and Property Management, Keaton Bessey. Keaton, thanks so much for being here tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mo.
Okay, so the home flipping tax that BC has now implemented, it sounds great, right? Because basically what you're doing is you're disincentivizing home buyers who are only getting into the market to buy properties, to maybe ride a hot market and flip right away for a quick profit. So by disincentivizing those buyers, aren't you decreasing demand and then, I guess, decreasing prices for other home buyers that actually want to live in those properties?
That's the logical thought to this whole thing.
Yeah.
When you actually dig into it, and it comes up with a lot of these taxes that the government puts in place, is that there are a lot of exemptions. And so what a traditional, they call it the BC home flipping tax, but a traditional flipper will go in, buy a property, improve it, renovate it, and then sell it off at a profit.
Okay.
The evil profit, right? Some renovations are actually exempt from this program. So what this does is
Some, but not all.
Some, but not all.
Okay.
So like a lipstick or a nothing,
Right.
You buy it and just put it back on the market with new photos. Those will get caught, but the market is taking care of that today anyways.
Okay.
Right? There's very little evidence showing that flipping would work right now. So people aren't doing it anyways.
Perhaps right now, but in the past where we did have hot markets and the market was just going up and you could just hold on to a piece of property, then maybe it made more sense, right? So I feel like no one is saying that this home flipping tax is going to make housing affordable, but isn't it a great tool in the toolbox to help with affordability?
I think it makes the housing market more complicated for people. What's actually going to happen if you bought a property and lived in it for, say, 18 months, and you went through a divorce or a job loss, you are very likely exempt from the tax.
Right.
However, you still have to file. So you still have to do some paperwork, and you're going through a divorce or a job loss at this time, and I have to pick up some paperwork you didn't even really know you had to fill out. Sell the property now. And now you're subject to audits and more other complications, which we've seen go wrong with the speculation and vacancy tax, where you have homeowners who've lived in properties for a long time and they get pegged with a huge tax because the audit system went incorrectly.
So is the problem the loopholes? Should we just say no loopholes altogether, even if you had extenuating circumstances?
Yeah, I mean, the federal government already has a tax on house flipping. You already have to pay income tax on assigning, like profit from an assignment or profit from, flipping a home. I don't really understand why we need 20% more. If this is a revenue grab for the BC government, it's not much of one. They expect 4,000 homes to be affected by this annually, $43 million in revenue. This is from their own people.
Just 43 million?
43 million.
Oh, that doesn't seem like a lot.
Well, with a budget of $81 billion, it's not a lot at all. It's like less than 0.5%.
And does that include, I guess, the administrative fees? Because you are talking about exemptions and obviously putting this together, that doesn't come cheap either.
Yeah, no, it's not net to the province. This is the revenue. So how much to administer this very complicated problem with all the people who are going through divorce or job loss saying, why the hell do I have to fill this out? Am I going to get pegged with something?
Right.
It's going to cost some money to handle that. So
if the purpose was just to punish people from making a quick buck off the real estate market, is this a good policy?
No.
No?
No, it doesn't do anything.
So what is it for then? Are you just saying it's for theatrics or it's performative?
I think it's something relatively easy to pass in a time where it doesn't really affect, what's going on in the marketplace. They promised they would do it, and now it's here.
And on the surface, it makes people like me happy, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and you don't really need to, unless you're a housing expert, you don't really need to know much about it, right?
Yeah. So broad strokes then, what should the government be doing to stop practices that inflate or overheat the housing market?
Maybe do some more audits of all the people who didn't pay profit when they sold.
Didn't
pay a profit on their assignment sale or their home flip, from 2016 to 2020.
Like a retroactive.
Well, there's lots of people who did this.
Yeah.
And if they got audited, they may have not have claimed income. It's well known.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What can we do for the future, though? Like, what should the government be looking at?
I mean, again, we already tax on income.
Yeah.
So whether they're going to call it a capital gains tax or if you're doing an assignment flip, if it's just going to be income tax, we already have income tax. And if you make, $60, $70, $80,000 a year and you go out and you flip a home for $50,000, but it's an assignment, and if it's based on income or capital gains, you're still paying.
So you're saying we should increase income taxes?
No, absolutely not.
What I'm trying to understand is, and really quickly, we have about a minute left.
Yeah.
What should the government be doing if it really wants to pursue making homes or rentals more affordable?
Build more of them. So get out of the way. There's way too much bureaucracy, way too many rules and regulations. I'm not saying drop the safety stuff. I'm saying, why should it take a year or more to separate like a backyard from a property or get a permit to put in a carriage home? These things take forever and they cost way too much. And the massive percentage of a new home is government fees and taxes, not to mention the holding costs of these properties and everything else.
Right.
It's like 20-30%.
Fascinating. Keaton, I appreciate your insights. You have put a different lens on this for me. I still like the idea of disincentivizing some of the people that are profiteering off the housing crisis, but nonetheless, I think you make some great points. So thanks so much.
Thanks, Mo.
Folks, that was Keaton Bessey at Greater Vancouver Tenant and Property Management. We disagree a lot, but he is a great follow on all the social media. Now, after some business, did you know that the BC legislature is on a 9-month hiatus? After such a long break, what can we expect from Premier David Eby and the BC NDP's third consecutive term governing our province? We'll talk about it up next.